Alright, well, welcome back, everyone. It's good to see you as well, Munchy. But, we are back in the factory after having our long playthrough with Tam there for a while. It was a couple hours worth of work. But at this point, we've made lots of changes to the base, and I'm going to overview them. And thank you, Devil, I appreciate it. So, for starters, we have got a complete perimeter wall built. I don't have a radar down there. But we have guns all the way up on the north border, as well as up to the mining outpost here. The mining outpost has been rebuilt and expanded to the top, so we've connected the second little iron vein, and we're just sticking it straight right into the train. So, sounds good, Devil, no worries. We've also got the eastern front all turreted up, as well as this sort of detached one right here. There's a solo ammo box being filled here, but we've got 2.7 thousand in there, so that'll last us for a little bit at least. And you can see that there are plenty of attacks going on, and thankfully the setup that we've got is quite good. Everything is being fed from right here. We've got 1.7 in storage there. With regards to the bus, we can just take a brief look at the things that got upgraded. The steam engine setup got moved to be down here, and notably it's also running on wood now because we have such little coal left. I can find it on the map view here, yeah. We've basically completely run out of coal, and we were no longer able to sustain the base running on coal. So what's actually happened is that we have increased our wood production here, not as much as it needs to be. I'm missing 3 machines on either side here, but once I add those 3 additional machines, then we're going to be producing pretty much a full red belt of all of these things. There's a little bit of splitter madness that's going on here because this is heavily side preferenced. But for the time being, you can see that we are going at mostly full capacity. We've still got a full back belt here, and things are sort of evened out. So that's what we're looking at for power. Obviously, like I said, the wood has expanded a little bit. I'm trying to think of what else has changed since last time. All of the random stuff that the biters broke got rebuilt. That's an interesting little replacement that I had neglected to notice, but something interesting. And then not much bus expansion other than just this right here. So the only differences was that, as I mentioned, I had my friend Tam with me, and if you look on the map, I put a little train station down here, and this is his stuff. If he ever decides to come rejoin us, then he can just grab it back. But I also may periodically steal from this as time goes on. So, could you use a sound alert building to give you warning if it gets low in ammo? I absolutely could do that. I do have access to that. Although it'll be pretty apparent when something runs out of ammo because there will be things blinking at me. I also set up a couple of Meteor Defenses because we've been doing good so far, but right in the middle of that stream last time, we had some giant meteors hit us right in the middle of our base. I believe one struck right here, and then another one struck up at the bus over here. Yep, there it is right there. So we installed a couple of Meteor Defenses. They're not as powerful as I once thought they were, which is unfortunate, but it'll tide us over for the time being. So in the meantime, I'm going to drop off some of this extra stuff that I have here, just to get the rest of this sorted, because at this point we're probably just going to be using, or we're going to try just to use red belts and red equipment when we can. So, but yeah, so next on the list, get the music going again, is I've said that I'm going to create engines for myself, and then we're going to work on the glass sandstone setup kind of thing, which is going to be next on the list. So, in the meantime, let's just piece out all the rocks that we're going to have to remove here. So, game might be a skosh loud as well. Alright, then continue on from here. I'm going to be so thankful once we order over to the rest of this. We don't have to worry about all of these damn rocks everywhere. And I think also, we're going to be, we walled this off, so we're actually going to be approaching our oil here as well. So we'll probably get an oil set up as well. Oh, look. I had some visitors. So next we wanted to do engines. What is that going to look like? Gears, motors, pipes, and plate. Well, if I look at what's actually being made, we've got pipes and plate and motors as well. So if we do one belt of motors and pipes and then a belt of iron plates, we're going to make gears locally. So we'll probably in fact steal this exact setup right here and just do something that kind of looks like this. Pretty much exactly like this, because there's no reason to make it different. So, give us a healthy gap here, so probably start the belts here. And then, you know, the other thing that I'm going to be able to do once I get this setup going is I'm actually going to be able to have some lights. Because right now, those are locked behind the ability to make quartz, which is a product of stone, and specifically sand. So it's going to take some time before that makes it all the way up here. Let's see if I can just steal some of this stuff. Where am I making? Here we are. Here is my lots of wire. Note also that we have completely run out of technology that we can research right now because we're locked behind either military or blue. So after we get these products set up, that's going to be our next major task, is getting some new science done. So that's what's on the horizon. We'll just try and sprinkle some lights in here so that things are a little bit more visible. Although it is gradually getting daytime now that I placed down the lights, but you know, that's how it goes. Alright. So if we have something like this going on, we would have this be engine units, and this would be gears, which it already is. And you require 10 seconds per craft, so we can probably fit a couple of these. The rest of this built up. There you go. Guess let's give it 5 for starters, just because it sort of fits. And as you can see, the biters have really started going ham. So at some point, we're going to need to get into that military technology so that we can actually push them back. But for the time being, the defenses that we've got are more than adequate. The belt extended up here, and then I guess we can place down the inserters and poles as well. The fast inserters first, and then the long inserters. And unfortunately, we're still blocked behind oil production to actually get our stack inserters. But eventually, we will find a world in which we start using those. Yeah, so there's that. We want iron on the outside, and motors and pipes on the inside. We can also just work on getting the bus extended here. Need more red belts. Thankfully, we make plenty of them now. At some point, I'm going to have to find a way to clean up my inventory here. Now, I have not gone through and upgraded the entire base with red belts, but I've done some of it. Not as much as probably is needed. Alright, so iron on the inside. Where did that go? Okay, that was kind of close to the wall. It's a little scary. Very nice. So there's the iron, and then we needed half and half of motors and pipes. So we can start by doing this one. Do that like this. Now, not particularly side balanced. There is a Gaming Awards going on right now, yes. It's not something that I know much about, so I make no attempt to be a part of it. Let's see if there's a way that I can do this balancing in a meaningful way. I think for the time being, we should just be fine. In fact, you know what we can do? This has screwed me in the past, but I can always just go and fix it. We can do this kind of thing. Where we just have it feed on one side, and we can side balance later. And that makes it slightly more complicated when we have to do this, because it needs to now be on the other side. Yeah, I guess the problem with doing it this way is that then you don't allow the ability for both belts to go if you need it, so maybe we'll switch that up the way it was. There's one. And now, if the one side of the belt runs out, then the other side can feed it as well. There we go. So there's that side of this sorted. Get some lights down here as well. Perfect. We do need to get ourselves an output belt here, I just realized. Fortunately, the red belts are not quite long enough to double gap this the way that I might want them to. Alright, there is the engine output belt. All we gotta do is place down the pole now. Ah, yes, and this is different from that setup because you actually need long-handed inserters. Because you require plates as well. We can also toggle these guys so that we alternate which ones are which. We're making engines. Very nice. Sweet. So next on the list, I believe, was stone products. So we're going to need these machines as well, which requires glass, automation, torque gears, beams, cable, glass, and glass. Yeah, so the reason why I haven't actually built a mall for these machines yet is that a lot of them require glass. So, but we do want to do the stone and glass production first. So let's just quickly think about the ratio for making glass It's going to require 8 sand. Okay, well, it makes 8 glass, so it requires 1 sand every second. And 1 crusher produces... Here, where are they? Yeah. So it takes 1 sand per second. And this creates 7.5 every second. So 2 of these sustains 15 machines. And then glass is smelted at a rate of 1 per second, so that would be 15 per second consumption, which means that we could do 15 machines, and we would get half of that back out, because it goes half to glass. So then we would be getting about 7.5 glass. So if we do double that, if we do 4 crushers, then we can do 30 things smelting glass. And then we'll be all set. But if we're going to be using our steel furnaces as well, it's going to change the ratio slightly. The steel furnaces have a crafting speed of 2, so they would chew up 2 sand, or rather 1 sand every half second, because they're running at twice the speed. So then we could use basically just half the number of furnaces. So we would still need 4 crushers. And then from stone, that would be, they take 3 per second, we need 4 of them running, so that's 12 per second, which is easily doable. So I think then the first order of business is to get 4 crushers. And I think that's a nice intermediate amount of production for now. Now note, the crushers are absolutely gigantic, so... And 4 crushers, we're going to be creating exactly 30 per second of sand, which is as much as a single red belt can do for now. So it's also a good ratio from that regard. Alright, another meteor hit us. Far afield. Now, feeding these guys is going to be slightly tricky. I think the best way to do this is going to be in fact, I'm probably going to do a 4 square and have the belts do a little bit of a strange combination. So we can have the stone coming in this way, and then we can have the belts outputting this way. Jump. And then combine it right down into the rest of the furnaces. I think we should only need 3 belts to actually support all this, so that's the good news. There's that. That means that we also then have convenient placements for these 2 power poles, which we can connect right here. And then I guess we can pull that down this way. So let's go ahead and hook up this stone. Should not be too difficult. In this instance, we're going to want basically a full belt. So there's that. And this should start crafting sand. Here we are. I believe I said we needed 15 furnaces. Pretty sure that was the number. So, let's review the other things that require sand. Because there are a couple of other things, I think. Yeah, so Quartz Production, which is then used to make silicon, also uses sand. And it uses... I forgot that this ratio is so stupid. In a filtration plant, it requires 10 every 2.1 seconds, which is going to be slightly less than 5. I still have no idea why it's just 2.1. That's never made sense to me. Yeah, so like 4.76. So maybe if we just have 10 furnaces making glass, that gives us like 5 a second for this, which is going to give us 6 quartz and not as much silicon. How big is a filtration plant? I do not remember. Well, first I need to... Yeah, it's filtration plant. That's what we start with here. I don't immediately remember what we use electrolysis for. I'm pretty sure it's just right now the sand into chlorine and hydrogen. So, but I believe these are also the same size as these, yeah. So we could do something like this. Where we have some of the furnaces eating these, and then some of these as well here. We are going to need a source of water, the closest of which is probably going to be down here, so we'll probably just run a pipe straight up. So you guys are going to take like 4 per second, if I remember correctly, from the math that I did literally 20 seconds ago. Yeah. One machine takes 4-ish per second. Okay. So if we have 2 of them, that's like 8. So, I wonder how many furnaces we can fit in this area. What I'm starting to think is that we're probably going to want a little bit more stone production here. The problem is that this is the max that we can do with a red belt. Theoretically, we could do direct insertion. In fact, what would the ratio look like for that if we were to do direct insertion? You require, like I said, roughly 5 per second. And this creates 7.5 per second. So actually, you can do 2 of these to 3. Understood. Okay. Well, that might be a little nicer then. So maybe we just reserve this here for the furnace portion of this. So these are also going to need fuel of some kind because we don't have access to... I neglected to remember that these things need fuel. Shoot. We don't have a great source of that right now, because basically we're just using the wood. So we could use the bus tap that's giving us wood. That's something that we could do. Honestly, let's just do this. Instead of having sand go this way, why don't we just have another 4 of these? And we can just do this. This. It'd be more efficient to do it like that. Well, not really, but just have the sand exiting this way. And we can just quickly copy this and stick it down right here. Oh, those take a long time to craft. Okay, I see now. This side of things. You get these power poles down as well. And now we've got 2 lines of sand production here. So on the one side we can make glass, and then on the other side we can attempt to do filtration plants. So 15 would sustain basically 3 of these. So I guess we can do that like this. And then we're going to need to put them directly into furnaces as well. So 3 of these are going to produce, let's see. Where is that recipe? There we go. You're going to produce 6 every 2.1 seconds. So a little less than 3 per second. So we have a little bit, about 9 per second here. And this requires... That's not a nice ratio either. What is that? 18 out of 16. Excuse me, 18 out of 8, because this is actually done in a furnace. So 18 out of 8, not 88, is 2.25. What is 9-ish divided by 2.25 is 4. Okay. There you go. Why chat is no longer in the stream? That is a good question that I'm not sure. Because it should be. Oh, that would be why. Yeah, but then if I do that, yeah, that's gonna look weird. Alright. Well, you get maybe more chat than you bargained for, but there it is. So I can't remember. I think we said we needed 15 furnaces here to do this. And then we needed 4 for this. I wonder if there's a more satisfying way to set this up. Could certainly do this for starters. And then we could have, let's see, we would have silicon being produced here. We can deal with the silicon later. I'm just trying to think of a decent way that we can set up a setup for this. So we can get water in from this side here. We do also need to get wood down at some point. So we could go... Could bring wood to like right here, maybe? Well, you're gonna need an output belt here anyway, so mark that down for now. And then we could have wood right here. We could have it split off. Like so. I've run out of red belts again. It's kind of shocking. I also have many motors, which I really don't need. So we can take some of them. Very nice. Okay. Well, I think next time we're going to finish up figuring out how to make this work.